Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for another session in our Shift 6 OS webinar series. The goal of this webinar series is really to bring in, reputable industry leaders to share some insights that could help attorneys and other small businesses grow and scale their business at a rate that they are happy with. For today's session, the title of today's session, apologies, is called Unmasking Your Brand: Strategies to Stand Out in the Noise of Social Media. In order to review this topic, we brought in someone who is an industry expert and also a serial entrepreneur. Joining me is Amy Torres. She is the owner and founder of Director of Marketing Inc., as well as I think 5 or 6 other different businesses. Amy's company, Director of Marketing Inc., really works with small law firms and small and mid-sized businesses, including many of our clients here in North Carolina. What she does for them is helping them amplify their social media presence, their online presence, and really provide them with a strategic approach to their marketing needs. How are you, Amy?
I'm well, Brian. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why marketing is so near and dear to you?
Yeah, so believe it or not, I'm a dinosaur in the marketing world. I started in 1998. And my first big job, I worked as the marketing manager for an apartment community that had a horrible reputation. So
Okay.
my job was to come in and rebrand it as a desirable place to live and build community relationships. Very first, right out of the gate, a lot of fun when the ATF and FBI show up at your property. We made the news, not in a good way, but this taught me a valuable lesson. There is no such thing as bad publicity because people could not remember why the ATF and FBI was at our apartment community. So that was my first jump into the marketing world in 1998. I've spent many years in advertising and marketing since then. I
Right.
worked in radio for 12 to 13 years, roughly running sales teams and building plans and helping radio stations grow their customers. But I bought my very first business 22 years ago. And
Oh, wow.
as a business owner, right, learning the value of marketing, but also getting a return on your marketing investment and making sure you're not throwing dollars out. And as everyone knows, marketing's hard to measure, but we have a lot of great tools now to measure.
Absolutely. And I mean, what a way to rip off the band-aid into your professional career, right? Going in and having a location of yours be rated. That definitely wasn't in my bingo card, and I imagine it wasn't your bingo card either.
And one reason why we don't offer PR services, I have connections, I have people I can refer to, but crisis management's not my favorite thing.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And just by a quick way of introduction, my name is Brian Figueroa. I am the president here at Shift6OS, and our mission is quite simple, and that's to help attorneys and small businesses hire affordable virtual admin employees without any of the headaches of the hiring process. And so, as you heard, Amy's excited to be here. I'm excited to be talking about this topic. And so, we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. If that's cool with you, Amy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess a good place to start is, um, how can business owners and particularly lawyers benefit from amplifying their presence on social media?
Post and post often. That's just the starting point. You need to be
Okay.
visible and have activity. And believe it or not, search engines like Google and Bing reward you for your activity on social. It counts towards your search engine optimization. And it's a
Huh.
free way to boost your SEO. And if people have purchased SEO services in the past, they know it gets pricey. Lean on your social for some of that content to put it out and help you rise in search.
Can we discuss a little bit on how that ecosystem kind of works in the background? Because it's pretty interesting. I actually had never heard on how, social media itself can be an amplifying tool to help bring just more attention based on just, the back end of what's going on with the clicks.
Yeah, so let's talk about just Google specifically because we all know Google's king. Google's main goal is to deliver the most accurate information about a search within nanoseconds, right? So their algorithm is out scanning and looking for, is the business still in business? Are they active, right? And another thing that people don't realize, your Google business listing is actually also a social marketing tool. So posting content to your Google business listing is just as important as posting it to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever, LinkedIn. But I personally, our goal for our marketing company, because we're referral only, is to have my LinkedIn page, my personal and my business page, outrank my website, because people buy from people they know and like, and we
Absolutely.
can't do that. So optimizing your website also important, but being active on your social can be that other tool that complements all your paid activity as well.
Got it. Is there any specific timing or frequency that, you would recommend to anyone that's viewing it or tuning into this webinar that they should follow? Specific times that you think postings are just more noticed by, the people within their network or their connections?
Mhm. Yeah, so it's going to vary based on kind of the law firm or that small business, but accident attorneys should be posting 2 to 3 times a day
Oh, wow.
and all hours of the day. And use a tool. Like we have a tool we offer our clients that if they want to schedule, they can schedule a whole year's worth of content, set it and forget it. But schedule it varying times. If you're a business attorney, gosh, you need to be all over LinkedIn. But even doing just 2 posts a week on LinkedIn can make a huge impact. It doesn't have to be every day. And then that overwhelms people. Well, if I need to post 3 to 4 times a day as an accident attorney or twice a week as a business attorney, what do I post, right? What kind of
Yeah,
content do I come up with? And that's always a challenge for people because they overthink it. So
I
one of
can
the
I can
things,
see that.
yeah, you sit down at your computer, you've got 5 minutes, you need to get something out, right? Oh my gosh, writer's block. It happens to all of us, even for me. If I have to write for my own company, I cringe. I want my team to write for us. But,
Right.
having a little bit of a plan, we build social strategies for people, follow the plan. And so content that's great for attorneys, and I'm pretty sure that bringing in your personality, right there's a content. The personality of your law firm, the personality of the people, your employees, your team, highlighting them, highlighting anniversaries. Those are great content posts. Then on the flip side of that, education. Educate your followers on the services you offer, but also on your process. How easy is it to do business with you? And I'm going to pick on a big dog, Morgan & Morgan, not one of my customers. However, they talk about how easy it is that you can do your whole consultation with them through email. Every other accident attorney might do that in the nation, but they're only the only one talking about it. So don't be afraid to talk about your processes. That can help you come up with content also.
So you can almost leverage social media in multiple ways, right? Not only are you, trying to generate attention, trying to generate thought pieces, thought content, but also while you're doing that, you can also guide people to see how easy it is to do business with you, and not only do business with you, but have a favorable outcome, right? Like an outcome that
Absolutely.
doesn't feel stressed. Absolutely.
Yes. And people buy from when it's easy. I mean, most people don't like to go in and negotiate a car buy, right? If you have to buy a new car, you're usually cringing because you're like, I'm going to give up my afternoon or my day, spend it at the car lot. I'm going to have to haggle. Even if I'm pre approved, they still want me to look at their financing, right? They make it difficult to buy. But if it's easy to work with your firm or your business, spell it out. We tell people our system and process is easy. It's 3 steps. We do a snapshot report and a discovery meeting. We provide recommendations and research. And then if you decide to move forward with us, what we recommended, we onboard you and start you. It's as simple as that. So if you
Wow.
have a simple process for onboarding, share that. Even if every one of your competitors does it, no one's talking about
I mean, give me the dotted line. I'm ready to sign, Amy.
it.
So we know that content is king, right? However, we see that many brands, even though they're posting, they almost become invisible on these social media platforms. What are some common mistakes that you see brands make that leads them to have this, almost lack of presence, even though they're putting some effort behind it?
Yeah. A lot of their content's boring or
Mm.
doesn't have their personality involved. People love pets. There's a guy here in my market that had a dog that he named like the payroll dog, payroll Rex, right? People loved the content and it was literally a picture of his dog every time, but people would know his dog before they knew Mick.
Wow.
So you got to set your ego aside sometimes. That's okay, but you want people to talk about it that's engaging. We had another law firm who's the attorney, the dad, his son worked for his law firm, but had graduated from IU. And so he had named his dog Indiana after IU. But then the new Indiana Jones movie come out, what, 3 years ago? And so they made a post with the dog flying through the air and we named it Indiana Bones right?
That's
And
amazing.
a ton of people engaged with that post. They laughed at it. It's okay to add humor. It's okay, again, bring in that personality. You still want to educate. You want to be, informal, but you can have some fun with that. So anything that's topical, right? Any topical news. Also, movies come out. Movies are a great way now. You have to be careful. You can't use their fonts or necessarily their name, but you can sprinkle enough in for people to catch up what it is. Um,
Almost like a teaser. Yeah,
yeah,
and something that I see, especially in the legal industry, is that you don't really get a lot of that personality, right? Just because of the nature of the business itself. So that's a phenomenal view on that. Honestly, that's really cool.
well, and people buy from who they like, know, and trust.
Sure.
So when behind every social media account, personal or business, is people. And we are always in the people business. So if you can start thinking about your content as how do I talk to the people that like and follow us, and how do we find more people like and follow us? Always go with things that they might be interested in. I know obviously attorneys always have confidential stuff, but
Right.
resharing Google reviews. If a person posts a Google review, you can always blag out some things if your bar association requires it, but if they posted it, it's up for you to use. And we love resharing our attorneys' Google reviews because now it's showing off their work in action with their client bragging about it and not them bragging about it themselves. So, and
Right.
there's another
Building on
opportunity
that trust.
for content. Absolutely.
That's really cool. All right, since we touched on the invisible or potential invisibility uh, factor of social media and how not to end there, what are some practical strategies or tips on how you can turn low engagement social media profiles into a more dynamic and engaging presence?
Yeah. So comment and get a few people to comment, right? Sometimes it's like fake it till you make it.
Hmm.
But you get your whole team involved. Hey, we're doing this and tag.
Right.
And that's an internal mechanism, right? Get your team involved in your content and comment and reshare. My other favorite though is if you support a nonprofit or you work with a nonprofit, give your nonprofit some plugs and have their members and their volunteers engage. If you're doing community work, share it. It's not that you're bragging about doing that community work. Trust me, that nonprofit will so appreciate the exposure on your brand, right? Um, if something kind of funny happens, someone trips, falls, gets hurt, if they're okay with it, you can share that, right? Life happens to all of us, but being real in that moment. If you did land a big case, you can just put a big dollar sign out, right, and flash it, and we like want to know what we won. Call us, check in. We can tell you our history. And then video. If you can get away with doing even just 10, 15-second videos of what's going on. Last week, one of the things about being a business owner that I love is I work typically from home. I have an office being built out back right now, still be at home, but I baked peanut butter cookies last week and I did a video about it. It was like 2 o'clock in the
That's
afternoon. I'm
awesome.
like, as a business owner, I get to bake cookies when I have my sweet tooth kick up, right? Sharing your favorite recipes, sharing anniversaries at your business, and then getting those family members involved, asking if it's okay to tag mom and dad. One of my favorite things I've seen an attorney do is when they hire a brand new attorney that graduated law school. And mom and dad is super proud of their child, right? But tagging their family in that post, that's part of the celebration.
Wow.
Any
I mean,
accomplishment, right? That takes it so back down to the personal level. And again,
absolutely.
you're highlighting your employee who worked really hard. Law school's not easy. I would hate to take the bar. I didn't even like my business law class that well. I survived it, but reading all the documents, right? When I was in my business management class, I'm whew. So they put a lot of work and effort into it. So share that. People don't understand, how difficult some of these are. And then also historical, sharing past legal cases or past things that relate to your business and commenting on it. One of my favorite things is marketing that fails. Like, and the Chevy Nova is one of my favorite. Nova in Spanish means no go. So no, they
Right.
couldn't figure out, Chevy couldn't figure out why the Nova wasn't selling. Well, that's why. They think the car's a lemon right out of the gate.
Right.
But you can share other public information like that in history back into your content.
Right. It's tying it all back in together, right? Still highlighting that personality behind it and showing that the wins, right? Because that builds trust in itself. When you talk about yourself, like you mentioned, it doesn't have the same impact as others talking about you, saying how well you did for you did to help them out. And it just creates a better dynamic, right? Again, stacking those trust blocks on top of each other until you've built a nice beautiful castle of trust.
Yeah. Well, and
Love
even
that.
getting it, and if you're employees, I know law firms a little bit harder. There's confidentiality rules, but if you have a client willing to do a video for you, even for your small business, that goes a long way. Or if you want a long form testimonial, or putting together success cases, or what the problem was and how we solved it, like case studies, that also makes for great content and great blogs. And by the way, if your law firms have blogs, inside of every blog is usually 15 to 20 pieces of content. Repurpose your blogs.
100%. 100%. Since we're talking about repurposing right now, what are some effective ways to do that, right? How can law firms tailor their social media content specifically to their practice area?
So you can have like theme days, right? Where Monday is always something specific to that. Um, if you kind of create a rhythm, and like I said, a social strategy helps that. Like, on this day, Tuesday tip day, these are the areas that business owners get in trouble when running their business. Or you can have a day on non-competes, right? You can kind of sprinkle some of those things in, things that are important that business owners should be looking out for. Then fun day, Friday fun day. I know that sounds cheesy, but doing some of those stuff, like I used to do music Mondays, and I need to get back to that because it was something people always want to know what I was listening to on Monday because I was writing content on Monday, and it varies, right? But just pulling people into your world. They want to be pulled into your world. So you can come up literally with a 5-day schedule, kind of a themes, and then other like calendars. I have a calendar here that hangs. It has all these random holidays. Like next Tuesday is International Waffle Day. So maybe the
That's
head
coming
of your
close
law
enough.
firm brings in the waffle iron, right? And makes breakfast for the whole team. And that becomes something that's a little bit more engaging. So don't be afraid to look at like national and holidays that are these fake holidays in my mind. But hey, it's content. You can still do it. Um, Coming up is Autism Day too. So anything that ties back into the community, who they're serving, and then any pro bono work they do or any cause that they want to champion are all things that can go into that daily flow or that weekly flow of content.
Wow. No, that's really good. And if I'm hearing, as we're going kind of through these questions, the tone underneath all of it is really the personality, right? And so many people shoot from the hip essentially when they start out marketing because, just like myself, I'm not a marketing genius whatsoever. I don't know what to say, right? I don't know what direction to take it, but by having a strategy behind it, combining it with a little bit of personality to let people know who you really are, that seems to be the most effective way. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you do want a plan. Um, and you can tell the companies that just randomly wake up one day and post and they're really good at it for the first couple of weeks and they fly away, right? Then they're down
Right.
for months. Um, and you do want consistency, one, because you want to keep your followers engaged. And
Right.
then two cool things, real quick. LinkedIn should be on everyone's number one social marketing tool because LinkedIn's content will live there for a week. And what I mean is, if I posted something last Monday, and let's say two of my followers hasn't logged into LinkedIn in like a week's time, but they log in today, LinkedIn will refeed them what they missed
No way.
on my post. Now that could change. We know algorithms change.
Sure.
Facebook and Instagram, once you post, that stuff is pretty much gone. And although you might get sick of posting it, your followers will not because only 22 to 27% of your followers are seeing your content anyways. That's why we want you to post often and post on a regular basis.
Does posting often refresh that total amount? Because it's something that I've seen even with my personal Instagram, right? They always have this subsection under your followers where it says, these accounts are the ones that mostly interact with you. These are the ones that are not getting any of your posts. By posting regularly, does that help affect that algorithm to make you more noticeable?
It can shift, and on occasion, and I say use this sparingly, you can do
Mhm.
at followers or at everyone also
Okay.
to push that out to boost. But on occasion, I go out to my friends and my family and be like, hey, I'm getting ready to put this out. Can you guys all nudge us or comment? again, to kind of shake up that algorithm.
Right.
I think the more AI becomes available, I think it's going to get harder and harder for just a business to log into a platform and start posting. I think they're going to have to get more creative. But again, engagement too. If all of a sudden one of your posts starts getting more comments and likes, then all of a sudden it's fed out to more of your followers. So that's important. And being vulnerable and funny too. If you have anything humorous, people like comedy. You can share that too. And again,
Yeah.
getting people to comment on that post, not just like, but you do want to engage, but comments and shares are just as important. So having your team like, comment, and share can make a difference to boost that exposure.
Yeah, it's almost like you're blending yourself with the brand you help create, right? Because if you own a company, you shouldn't see it as a separate entity, something that you're not a part of. You are 100% a part of that. That's your DNA going into whatever company you're crafting. And so
Yeah.
by combining that brand, keeping that brand idea at the forefront, adding a little bit of yourself, that's just going to make a better brand, a more recognizable brand, and a brand that people trust more, like you said.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And branding is a little, I have my name tag on. I was out at networking events today. I literally will have people that recognize my star. Woohoo!
Wow.
I also have people like, oh, you're the LinkedIn girl. And I haven't been doing my LinkedIn like I have been in years past. But they might not remember my name or my company name, but they recognize my star, right? So they already feel like they know me a little bit. And that's what you want, especially if you're an attorney and you're trying to get referral business or any business. You want to be known. People can't buy from what they don't know. So you
Absolutely.
have to be known. And if you're known for something fun, that helps. So on Fridays, usually when it warms up, I'm a concert junkie. I wear rock concert t-shirts out to all my appointments. I don't care if it's the first appointment. That's me in
Right.
the summer. I wear my concert t-shirts and we have fun with it. And I tell them it's my Rockstar Friday. I'm a rock star on Friday, and they just roll with it, right? So even your firm, if you have casual dress down day, or you pay money to wear jeans on Friday, talk about that and then own it and make that part of your personality too on your pages.
Absolutely. With us discussing branding right now, the legal profession tends to be very just serious, right? Just due to the nature of it, due to the work that goes behind it, and ultimately, the results that could be life changing or extremely impactful to those individuals, right? What are some ways that you think would be good for legal professionals, or how can professionals use storytelling on their personal branding to differentiate themselves in that crowded legal and digital landscape?
Yeah. Being caring and empathetic, right? Caring about the people that they serve and showing how they care. Um, Celebrating stuff in the community, right? Everyone's looking to belong or do something in the community. So even if they sponsor other events that tie back into a cause marketing is huge, right? Gen Z, millennials, um, are cause oriented. So having a baby boomer attorney have causes they get behind because their team's involved also goes a long way. And also, one, it builds relationships inside the firm or a small business because now their employer cares. But
Right.
showing how they care, taking it on the road, not just having it be speak, but hey, this is us in action. Those are things that can kind of show that personality too. Also, monotone. I think monotone is one of the funniest things you can do. But if you're not a bubbly personality or you're an introvert, that's okay. There is absolutely a space for you and own it. Have fun with it. I don't care if you record all your videos like, hey, this is Amy Torres, Director of Marketing Inc. You know that I hate TikTok, but here I am. Right? Because people
Knowing
crack up on it.
hearing that voice, I can already tell that wasn't you, right?
Yeah.
Which is so funny because that's part of your brand. That's what I've always known about you.
Yeah. And TikTok is one of those things I hate doing. I hate being on video. I will never watch this, Brian, because I don't want to hear myself talk. But and most owners and lawyers are the same way, right? They don't want to
Right.
be the star of their stuff, but you have to be the star of your stuff. But
Absolutely.
be real, be genuine, and really have a servant heart to care and help those people around you, clients and community.
Yeah, it's easy to tell when someone's not being genuine. So I'm glad you mentioned it. 100%. So how do you measure marketing, right? Like what metrics, what indicators should law firms and businesses focus on to measure the success of their social media efforts? And how can they adjust those strategies accordingly?
Yeah. So if you are working with a marketing company, most marketing companies will have a report for you, but also make sure your G4 Google Analytics is set up because it will show you too who was referred from your social marketing accounts to your website. So at the end of the day, what we want them to do is take action, right? We want them to either call your firm, go to the website, fill something out to engage, and having those G4 analytics will help. Also, if you're just not using any scheduling tools whatsoever, Meta has measurements in there too for Instagram and Facebook. So looking at those, then analyzing, okay, this post, March 1st performed really well. Let's analyze this post and do more posts like this, right? Go back, review, analyze. Not every post is going to go viral. Not every post is going to be successful, but you're still getting that SEO benefit. So don't get too hung up on that. And then obviously your post, you can measure impressions. I tell people impressions are like eyeballs on billboards. If you're driving down the interstate and you looked at a billboard, that's an impression. Your social kind of works in that same way. And then engagement is those clicks, likes, comments, and shares. So the difference between those, engagements usually run really low. Impressions typically run a little bit higher, but dissecting those posts that performed well will help you get better and feed more of those types of projects out.
Got it. So not understanding those metrics could also be extremely impactful and could almost work against you, right? Because if you don't understand how the engagements work, how the how to measure it and how to pivot from that, you're going to be just spinning your wheels in the mud, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. And
Do you see
again,
that often with the other companies?
we do. What I see most often though is people get excited and start and then they just stop,
Mm,
right? So get started, just get started with something. You don't have to be everywhere on every platform, but pick your favorite. If you're a business attorney, you better be all over LinkedIn. If you're an accident attorney, you better be all over Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, right? Um, there's Can you do all? You can, but start with a few and master those. Then you can start introducing other platforms. And I highly recommend getting a schedule tool that you can go in and create, your team can go and create, and then you can schedule it out so that you're not spending time every day. The scheduling tool will also save you time of you physically going into LinkedIn and getting in a LinkedIn rabbit hole, right? Oh, I have 12 requests for connection. I went in to make a post. Now I'm accepting connection invites. Now I'm responding to the 12 messages that popped up. It's a time
it's the
suck.
social media ADD. It just
Yes. So,
you get sucked
yeah,
into it, right?
scheduling tools will prevent you and your team from getting sucked in because you're not actually logging into the platform. You're in the scheduling tool, and it's going to send your content out to those platforms. Now, on LinkedIn, I do recommend, especially if you're heavy on there, you need to go in and answer messages at least twice a week. Schedule it, schedule 20 minutes, go on, interact, like, comment, share, and get off, right? Let your marketing team do some of the other work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. They know the mission, they know the tone, right? They're gonna know the brand, and so you got to let them, walk and run at that point in
Yep.
time, right? It's like letting your little bird off the nest. At one point,
Yes.
you just have to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna throw you a curveball here, so I don't know if you're ready for this one. So if you could have dinner with a mythical or historical figure known for their communication skills, who would it be, and how would they inspire your social media strategy?
Well, this might throw you for a curveball, but I would say I'm going to use Jesus, and this is why I would use Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus was on mission. He knew what his product was, right? Himself. On mission. He knew his brand, and he went to those people that needed him most. And he listened and he engaged them. So, listening to feedback from your clients, from your employees, can also help you tailor that social media content. And then be focused. No business has everyone as a customer. You got to know who your target is, who your target audience is. And there's so much tools out there. AI tools even help you narrow that down a little bit, right? Pull in some of those tools, but know who you're targeting, know what you want them to do, right? So if you're talking to them, what actions do you want them to take? Is it to like, comment, or share today? Or is it to call us? Or is it to have them become one of our customers? or is it a previous customer? Do you want referrals? Can you get referrals, right? um, and then stay on mission brand, right? There should be a flow. You want people to know you and your personality with your business for what it is and what you've put out. And there's where you want some consistency too. But he was consistent, he was on mission, and he knew what he had to do. And then he drew people to him through those actions. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to draw people to you.
I did expect to stump you a little bit, but it just shows the level of professional that you are because you were ready. You were ready with that answer. I have one more question, and it kind of relates to something you just said right now, which is AI, right? I mean, we see it everywhere. We see it in legal tech. We see it in generative AI and different learning models. How do you see AI from where you're standing affecting social media, and how should people prepare themselves for that?
Okay. Well, I love AI, and I have 6 different tools that I subscribe to and pay for, if that gives you any indication. For the small business owner and the law firm,
Right.
AI can be a game changer of helping you and your team develop content and blogs, or repurposing content and blogs, for one, and even sending out like a monthly e-blast or an e-newsletter. So I like AI from a business perspective. One, it can help you with your social content. Um, Two, it can help get what's in your head out,
Uh,
help you with decision fatigue, help you with writer's block, help you with a presentation. Now, do I would never advise, and my business attorney Randy would appreciate me saying this as well. You should not use AI to come up with any legal document for yourself, because that's going to put you in trouble at some point. However, same with human resources. Like,
right.
Brian, if, working with you, I might like take my job description and run it through AI and then send it to you. That's okay. But
Sure.
I also know you as a professional is going to review that and be like, hey, this is kind of a red flag to me here, Amy, right? I don't know if that's really what you want to tell the person we're
Right.
looking for, that
Right.
in the job description, right? So you still need a human touch with it, but you can have it do many tasks for you much quickly. And we do tell our business owners, obviously we write content, but we have a handful of customers that subscribe just to our software, which has AI built into it, and it saves them money, right? So if they're going to log in and they're going to do the work, they can use our AI tools to create their content also, including images. Images are still a little bit wonky, but we do use some AI images as well. And then we do some video work too through AI. We have an AI tool that we can create very professional, like informative videos. So they need to embrace it. And I like the private stuff. Don't use the publicly free stuff. Do the private so your stuff is private. But I think AI can be a game changer for businesses and really help them kind of have a plan of action. Even if they wanted a basic starting strategy for a social strategy or a marketing strategy, they can literally start with AI.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, embrace it. Embrace it, embrace it, embrace it before you get left behind and
Yes,
everybody else is ahead of you because you didn't decide to embrace it in time.
yes, absolutely. And
That's
there's
awesome.
some, like I said, many great tools out there. I don't even use all that's available, but my accountant yells at me when I'm spending a ton of money on software. So, and my accountant, by the way, is my daughter, Erin. I get told often that I need to quit buying AI tools or subscribing.
But they're all so much fun.
They are, and I love exploring them.
I just found a new AI tool myself that is supposed to be replacing Google. It's called Perplexity. I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard of it, but apparently the Google searches on that are supposed to put Google to shame. So we'll see. Maybe we'll cover that on the next webinar. But I
Yeah.
don't want to hold you up anymore, Amy. I want to just give you a big thank you for joining us, sharing your expertise and strategies, being just a doll as always. It's always valuable hearing directly from someone in the trenches, that's helping other businesses grow every day.
Thank you. I appreciate the time to be here today.
Oh, absolutely. If you would like to learn more about how to leverage social media marketing for your business, you can reach out to Amy directly at Director of Marketing Inc. Try saying that 5 times fast, right? She's a great resource and someone who truly understands what it takes to stand out. And personally, knowing some of our shared clients, I can say that what she delivers delivers, right? You can see immediate growth. You can see uh, an immediate change in just the tonality of a lot of the different businesses' social media profiles that I've seen. So make sure you reach out. And don't forget to tune in next month where we're going to be diving into legal tech and AI within the legal profession. Definitely a topic you guys won't want to miss.